Welcome to North Berwick, a picturesque and historic Scottish seaside town a short drive away from Leithers in East Lothian. It's a lovely wee town, known for its beach, the strange bass rock you can see here. It's not actually white, by the way, that's just a whole lot of bird shite. Where was all this again? And a rich history. In classic Scottish fashion, it includes rebellions, witch trials and other morbid fascinations, but that's not why we're here. We are here to meet the lovely folks at SteamPunk Coffee Roasters. SteamPunk has steadily grown for over a decade to become one of Scotland's favourite independent roasters. And we chatted to owner Kathy to figure out how they managed it.
It all started with Mavis 12 years ago. Mavis is a 1976 Volkswagen Westfalia, and we had set her up to serve espressos. Started with her at Stockbridge Market when it first started. So yeah, that's how SteamPunk began, basically. And then we moved into this building like 10 years ago, and that's where we roast all our coffee and do everything kind of from there. The reason we're called SteamPunk is not because we're trying to be like a steampunk theme thing, which sometimes people are disappointed they come in and we're not all wearing bowler hats and goggles, you know. But the idea is that steampunk is this sort of marriage of old technology and new technology, and constantly like reworking things and making them work. And I think that's very much the ethos behind SteamPunk to this day. And I opened a cafe here in North Berwick, and then from there got into specialty coffee, because before that I've always loved coffee, but I grew up at a time before the third wave, before specialty coffee in the States, going to diners and drinking like those bottomless diner mug of terrible, terrible coffee with a grilled cheese sandwich, you know. Yeah, it was but so I always loved coffee. But for me, my first like amazing coffee experience was actually a Starbucks, and getting an Ethiopian coffee from Starbucks and realizing that coffee could taste different than just like what you get in a diner mug with the waitress with a cigarette behind her ear, you know. Like it was really like, oh wow, it can actually taste quite different. This is like the prime real estate here. So it's very much designed around the building itself. I always loved this building. I used to come in here when it was an antique shop, but it didn't have, it had a ceiling that went all the way across. But I used to come in and then go upstairs and love looking up at the ceiling up there, which is really, really beautiful. And so when we obtained the building, I thought it would just be really nice to open it up so that you get the light and the feeling of space, and also showing off the beams. I'm a really big fan of industrial buildings, and I think it's really nice to just kind of show the structure of it. And so that is the original loading hatch. It was a joinery workshop originally, the building. So we opened it up and then just put a piece of glass in there, so we have nice light coming in. And the space over here in the corner where the roaster is, but we just tried to keep it, you know, by using sheets of glass and stuff, separate the space a little bit, but really allow people to be able to see what's happening. We've definitely had to bring customers on a journey with us about specialty coffee, and why specialty coffee and why single origin, you know, why those things matter to us, and why coffee is priced the way it is. We make it the size we make it, you know, and the temperature we make it. Lots of things that we definitely find, and particularly since COVID, people have got really into making coffee at home. Everybody has got their own grinder now, and so yeah, we feel it's really evolved and changed over the 10 years we've been doing this here. But when we started, for sure, as the first specialty coffee in the area, it was a new thing. We really love to celebrate different skills. For us, it's really interesting to see how different coffees can be and to kind of showcase. And we think that the stories behind the coffees are really interesting, and we want to share those with people as well. So for us, it's just really nice to have those that constantly changing kind of variety in the coffee, just like the place itself was constantly changing. One thing that Ludwika has worked really hard on the last couple of years has been getting our coffee more and more seasonal. And so we're now roasting coffees just basically as they land in the UK. And that's been a really exciting development. And we've also been getting a bit braver of introducing maybe some more expensive coffees, some really interesting sort of flavor profiles and things. And so it's going to be interesting to keep pushing the envelope there, I guess, and just bringing in more and more interesting coffees.
Hi, my name is Ludwika Kopczyńska. I am head of coffee. I think the most exciting thing about my job is definitely buying coffee and learning about relationships and what is behind my coffee. We only, in the first place, work with the importers that we know and trust, and that we know they are ethical. We know that about the importer before even starting the conversation. But historically, I would just, without any context, just like get 30 samples of El Salvador, cup them, and choose my favorite one. Recently, I do focus a little bit more about relationships, and I do like to bring the same coffees year after year. But the firm is definitely based more and more on my relationships with importers that I work with, people who I've spoken over the years, and I feel like they do the best job in making coffee better at origin and helping farmers and making them make their coffee even better. I think that is my main focus. Yeah. 2 years ago, I went to Burundi to volunteer. We basically started a cupping lab, so they've never actually really tried their own coffee except on like rare occasions. But they built building, they bought equipment, they bought little kawa roaster, and they were ready to start roasting and cupping their own coffees. But none of them have ever done that. So yeah, that's what I was doing. I set up cupping lab, I showed them all the procedures, I showed them procedures of how to cup. And then we done really exciting thing that is just the beginning. So in Africa, a little bit of background, most of the African countries don't have a big farms of coffee where they want coffee. It more relies on farmers bringing small lots every day from their old tiny farms. So what we came up with that year, because I was there for 6 weeks, was trying to design lots. So rather than mixing them based just on a day, that they came in that day together, we cooked through I think it was 250 tiny lots. Some of them would be 30 kilograms coffee, some of them would be 2 kilograms. I was trying to do this thing, we were trying to do together with the manager of the station, Zephyr, who I have such a huge respect, I've learned so much from him, to decide, find the more floral lots and mix them together. And then find more fruity one and mix them together. And yeah, that's kind of what I was doing. Traveling to origins made me realize how long it takes for coffee to get from there to UK even. And then from that perspective, I started being really obsessed about not buying coffee and putting it into the container and launching it 3 or 4 months later or 5 months later. Which is easier logistically. That's why people that's why we all are doing it. Buying coffee that is usually spot. I made a personal or a professional goal to have coffee as fresh as it can get. So yeah, I would think that is still slightly made us different from most of the roasteries. Yeah. So roasting style, again, it's a funny thing because I think everyone else, you probably have more to say about our roasting style than we do because you guys have tried different people's coffee and SteamPunk coffee tastes like that. I don't think we are aware of our own style, you know what I mean? Because it's just what you do. It's based on us copying it every day and we go, oh, this tastes better. So I don't think if we have roasting style specifically, I think we definitely have buying style now that you've asked. Yeah, we all in here really prefer washed coffees. Not exclusively, but we definitely feel like there was the whole wave of anaerobics and experimental processing. And don't get me wrong, some of them can be really amazing, but I think most of them I personally didn't like them. I was copying them and I'm like, I don't want to drink that at home. And luckily for me, I guess Rachel, who works with me, felt like that too. And we've done some attempts. I was like, oh, maybe people. But then I decided to actually like do us. If we don't like it, then. So I guess that would more define our style. I would think that we usually go for washed, quite complex coffees. I would hope, and yeah.
Our focus is always been quite sort of nerdy and specific. We just want to roast really nice tasting coffee, and we want to be like proud of what we do and enjoy what we do. And then apart from that, it's not much kind of bigger than that. Yeah.